What is up, everybody? Jester here, and today we're going to be covering something that I've been putting off for a very, very long time. 3 years, as a matter of fact. Very, very little time to waste. Let's just jump right into the video and get started. This is the VQ4 Gajor, a heavy fighter with a Viper nose, and me being a Battlestar Galactica fan, I knew I had to have this ship, and I've had her for 3.5 years, and we've been through thick and thin together, my main mode of transportation. The problem with this is I never really fully upgraded this ship. Sure, the numbers look pretty good, and anytime you can get a fighter over 1,000 light years in hyperdrive range, you're doing pretty good. But I kind of wanted to see a few things about what's changed in No Man's Sky in the last 3.5 years, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. S-Class upgrades versus X-Class. The basis for this test is really simple. We're going to be going with 5 different modules and all the applicable upgrades that you can get unlocked at the Space Anomaly. Hyperdrive, Pulse Engine, Starship Shield, Photon Cannon, and Positron Ejector, and we can have a debate about what's best, but those are my personal favorites. But next we needed to get 2 identical ships, so I went to the No Man's Sky Coordinate Exchange on Reddit. Link for that's going to be in the description, and user Postman Tom had this, and I thought this was one of the most beautiful ships I'd ever seen. It's an alpha nose, tie wing, and it's got kind of the forward-facing wings to it, and I knew that this was the one that I really wanted to fly around in. So we went ahead and portaled to the coordinates, and getting this was pretty easy. We were able to find these in C-Class, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to start with 2 absolutely identical ships, and so that's exactly what we did. The next part of this test took me 5 full days to put together, but the work was totally worth it for me because I really wanted to see the differences. So we ran around to all kinds of different Outlaw Stations first, for a couple of different reasons. Here you can buy the suspicious packet of arms and tech, and these are usually going to drop X-Class upgrades. And the beautiful part about doing it this way was that I was able to afford everything that I needed going forward with the S-Class upgrades by just selling off the X-Class upgrades that I just didn't need. So this way we kind of have a bit of sustainability. And if you guys haven't seen that video on the best method of making Neonites, a card for that is up in the top right corner. Go check that one out because this is an amazing method for getting tons of Neonites quickly. After accumulating a whopping 80 each of the 5 we were looking for and selling off all the other ones, we then took those Neonites around to the different space stations and flying around doing this. This part took forever because seriously, you can only buy about 1 of these a day before it restocks, and you're not going to find everything you're looking for at each station. So just know if you're going to go S-Class, this part's going to take you some time, so don't get discouraged if you can't accumulate quickly. When that grind was finally over with, I still had another 8 hours of going and breaking ships to accumulate enough storage augmentations to unlock all the tech slots in both ships. Once that was finally finished up, it was time, in my opinion, for the fun part, and that's the spending and getting everything up to S-Class. And just know, from C-Class to S-Class, it's 85,000 total Neonites to get those ships upgraded. That's 10,000 between C and B, 25,000 between B and A, and then 50,000 from A to S. But if you have enough Neonites, you can do this pretty easily. Once we got both ships done doing that, we were finally able to go ahead and go in and get the tech slots upgraded finished. I wanted to make sure we had enough space to get everything installed. So, and this is pretty simple. Using those augmentations, go in, just make sure that you click on an empty slot in the tech section, and that way you're not spending them on your inventory. But you know, eventually you're going to want to open the inventory. This is also going to show you exactly where your supercharged slots are going to be. There should be 4 of them on every S-Class ship, and they'll vary where they come from. But in the end, we were able to get 2 ships that were absolutely identical, S-Class. Each of the supercharged slots were in the same place on both ships, and all of the stats started off at the absolute same level. And this was a perfect setup for this test. I can't wait to actually see what the results are going to be. To kind of give myself an idea of what we were looking for as far as maximum stats, I needed some help. So I referenced a website that's Zane's World website. I'm going to put a link for his channel in the description, as well as a link to this particular spreadsheet. This is a wonderful little graphic that kind of tells you all the different number of stats that you might get from different upgrades, as well as the maximum numbers. Now, this is 3 years old, so I assume it's a little bit out of date as far as what the numbers are going to be, but you can certainly use them for a guideline to kind of give you an idea of what you're looking for. Starting off with the S-Class ship, I decided to go with the Starship Shield. And a couple of words of advice here. Just know that you can only put 3 upgrades in with the main one that goes in. The fourth one will overload everything, and you also want to make sure you've got an adjacency bonus, which means they all have to be touching, and you'll get a little bit of a perk with that. But just know Starship Shield, 30% was all you could really get with that one. Didn't have much trouble. Next, I moved on to the Pulse engine, and about the best I could find was a 17% maneuverability, 17% boost, and 20% fuel efficiency. So I just endeavored to find 3 of those that I could put in the adjacency slots. Again, with full max out, I'm not saying these are the absolute numbers because your guys' results may vary. This is just what I found when I did my testing. From there, I moved on to Hyperdrive, and here I was able to show you that the 252 light year one that I got will turn into 315 if you put it into a supercharged slot. So you're going to get a little more bang for your buck with these upgrades. But the absolute best one I could find was 260. And seeing as how Zane's chart said 250, you could tell that Hello Games had changed the game a little bit here as far as the numbers and stuff are concerned. I'm sure the X-Class upgrades had a lot to do with that. So just keep it in mind, 260 is about as best as you can get. Moving on to my favorite Starship weapon, the positron ejector. Real commonly, you would see the 7.72 fire rate, dispersion, and damage. 2% damage for a shotgun type weapon seems really small. I ended up settling on this one because I couldn't get it to go very high. Typically, it was about 10.77, was about the best I could get, and damage never went above 2%, regardless if I put it in supercharged slot or not. And that was disappointing. From there, the final one was the photon cannon, and this one was pretty simple. This one came down to a 7% damage, 3% fire rate, and 3% heat dispersion. Pretty much across the board is the best I could get. Finally, with the S-Class done, it's time to move on to the X-Class. And I'm not going to waste a whole bunch of time showing you all the best stuff because the final stats are coming up. But just know with X-Class, you're not guaranteed to get 3 stats if that upgrade comes with 3 stats. You could get 1 or 2, or the 3. And then there's no guarantee that you're going to get a maxed out or a really high one on those 3 stats. So just know you're going to need a ton more X-Class than you would S-Class every day of the week. To illustrate this point, I just want to show you one in the Hyperdrive category. Here you can see that I ended up getting one that's a really pretty good upgrade at 319 light years. That's not even in a supercharged slot. So already we're at the same level of a supercharged S-Class, from 260 to about 319 or 320 or so, just in one upgrade. So obviously, if you spend the time working with these, you're going to find much, much better upgrades with the Hyperdrive in particular than you would with, say, an S-Class. But then there's also the other type that come in to where you can upgrade it. And here you see we do get a 2-stat, but it's only 68 light years. So just know these things vary so wildly, and it's really, really unpredictable. When all was said and done, the results kind of speak for themselves. Yes, the X-Class are not only easier to get a hold of, but they do have better rates. But the problem is you need so many more of them to get the really good ones. And I don't want anybody saying here that this is the best you can get, that I said this is the best. Because I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is the best I got in around 80 tries. You know, I suspect you could get a 320 light year Hyperdrive, but again, in 80 tries, the best I could get was 319. So kind of buyer beware on that deal. Some of these results are a little bit marginal, and some of them are not very marginal at all. Like, example, the Hyperdrive is a big, big difference. But when you start to look at the actual ship stats side by side, you can see that the damage potential is almost null. It's 0.4 difference. Now, I've fought with both of these in space just to go check them out, and these things hit real hard. But definitely you can up this with like rocket launchers and some of the other weapons, but that doesn't mean that you have more damage per that weapon. Shield strength plus 10 is plus 10 in a firefight, and having a little extra maneuverability could be the difference between life and death in a really big firefight or a freighter fight. And again, the 300 light year difference in hyperdrive range, massive. That is getting up into explorer territory, and I'm not even kidding about that. For those of you that stuck around to the very end of this video, thank you so much for your patronage and your support. It means the world to me. And I want to offer a little bit of a challenge. I can't just leave this ship called X-Class, because that's going to be my new fighter going forward. So in the comments section, tell me what you think it should be called. It can be a parody of my name. It could be a parody of something in No Man's Sky. It doesn't really matter. I'll look at them all, and the best one will be the new name of my ship. And hopefully this helps somebody out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There's tons more No Man's Sky content coming in the future. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Bye.